also a member of the Million Women Mentors Network of Connecticut, dedicated to encouraging girls and women around the world to pursue, persist, and succeed in STEM careers. So our objective here is empowering and encouraging high school girls to be part of the movement to increase female representation in STEM. And today I'll be taking you on a journey to help inspire, empower, and encourage you to believe in the change you can bring to STEM fields. Throughout this presentation, we will be stopping for moments where we will have the opportunity to raise our voices through live polls. So if you'd like to participate, what you'll be doing is scanning a QR code from your mobile phone, and then you would click the link, and this is where polls will be presented for you to fill out. You'll be notified on your phone each time a poll is presented for you to answer in real time. So let's start with the first poll. This is a warm-up poll for everyone to try. Okay, and this is what we call a word cloud. Now, what you'll do is take your phone and you're going to scan the QR code. And once you scan that code on the screen, it'll pop up a box to allow you to answer the question. And I'll give you just maybe a minute to answer. All right. Has everybody voted?
I did.
All right. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Okay. So STEM in our society. What we're going to be doing is starting with how STEM relates to our society and why this is important to women, and where we can begin to see the effects of our society and how what opportunities we have from it. So let's dive into what STEM truly is. It's science, technology, engineering, and math. On a high level, science is understanding the world around us, researching and critical thinking. Scientists research and experiment and they're offering new and innovative discoveries. Technology is high-tech innovations. Technology experts provide gadgets that can make the work more effective. And engineering is problem solving. Problem-solving skills mainly. And engineers help to solve challenges by designing and running platforms that enable change. Now, math is analyzing information. We are eliminating errors and making conscious decisions. And mathematicians analyze information to eliminate mistakes and provide precise calculations. So, society for technology. It's important to know this. A growing digital economy reinforces demand for computer occupations. The top trending areas of focus are artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotics. So let's look at STEM job demands in the next 10 years. So of course, all computer occupations are going to be important, but we focus on the others where you're seeing a higher trend, first starting with the computer and information research scientists. So they conduct research into fundamental computer and information science as theorists, designers, or inventors. They develop solutions to problems in the field of computer hardware and software. And this field is projected to grow another 22% in the next 10 years. Software developers and software quality assurance analysts, also known as testers, is the next of the growth in jobs in the next 10 years. And software developers are research, design, and they develop computer and network software, and they also can have specialized utility programs, and they update software and enhance existing software capabilities. So with that, there's the quality assurance analysts and testers, and they develop and execute software tests to identify software problems and their causes. They test systems modifications to provide for implementation. And they also report software bugs to developers to fix. So these fields are all projected to grow, again, about another 22%, but it was already on the higher percentage to begin with. Now, the most important of all jobs here we're seeing for huge demand is information security analysts. So information security analysts plan and carry out security measures to protect organizations' computer networks and systems. And employment for information security analysts is projected to grow way more than the other careers at 33%, much faster than the average of all occupations. So with that being said, we're going to go and take a look at how this relates to us. So let's look at what this pie chart is saying. So we have some social awareness here to look at. So we see current demands for these technology fields, but let's look at the current statistics for women in STEM jobs. So in this pie chart, women make up 29% of the STEM workforce, with only 3% in executive level positions, also known as C-level positions. To further break it down, 11% are women of color, and the number speaks for themselves. In this second chart, we can see the percentages across all races and ethnicities, where we can see who is dominating the tech fields today. So we have, if you take a look at the percentages here, Black at 9%, Hispanic at 9%. We see Asians at 13% and white at 67%. So you can see the vast difference in races and ethnicities. So from taking a look at what we saw earlier with the percentage of 29% of women in the STEM workforce, it's between 29 and 28%, we'll see here. But we have something called the leaky pipe. And what the leaky pipe means that every single time the water goes through parts of the pipe, water leaks out. And that's basically what's happening in women in technology. And so we've seen an increase in women going to college and universities in computer science fields. So you can see, but when it comes to the workforce, the percentage drops and then drops as the years go on. So 50% of STEM graduates, which is actually a very nice increase from what it used to be. We have a lot more girls going into STEM fields, but what we're seeing here is since they make up 50%, only 28% actually become STEM. They actually go into the STEM workforce. So from college on to just starting out and then working in the field, there's definitely a massive difference. And then 40% of that 28% leave in the first 5 years. This is an issue that needs to be resolved that we will be touching on later in this presentation. So why are some of these things happening to us? Why are women leaving this field? Why are they not going into the field? It's really, a lot of it has to do with our culture. Why are there so few people? A lot of it comes down to the way boys and girls are raised, their foundation in our current society. US culture does not promote spatial skills for girls enough. And what does this mean? So spatial skills is the ability to understand and remember spatial relations among objects and space. And what we see here is the visual abilities are the visual spatial abilities are used for everyday use, from navigation to understanding or fixing equipment, understanding estimates, distance measurement. This is used in math and software development, research, among many other STEM fields. What we're seeing here is boys are given spatial toys at a young age, which enhances problem-solving skills and creation. So some toys are Legos, building blocks, models, board games. Even video games provide the spatial skills needed. But girls are naturally given non-spatial toys, especially in the beginning, dolls, doll houses, play kitchens, dress-up clothes, jewelry, and even squishmallows. Everyone knows what stuffies are. So that's what we're seeing here when it comes to the spatial toys between boys and girls. And that's how our foundation begins. Now, from here, we're looking at, well, how can we change this? So parents and teachers need to encourage students to build skills needed for math and science. Sometimes those skills are not always pushed as hard on girls as they are boys. So we need to empower women to take chances. So, women are taught to push towards perfection, and if they fail, most stop trying as hard, where men are taught to continue forward even when they have failed, which in turn makes them stronger. This is just a statistic, but it happens quite often. And we're going to learn today how we can begin to encourage girls to join and stay in their STEM fields. So let's talk a little bit about women in technology and history. So in this section, we'll be talking about the women that paved the way for our future through invention and programming. There will be a poll at the end of this section to talk about who inspires you. So let's look at the first part of the timeline. So this is where we look at how pioneers paved the way for the invention and the first of programming, Bluetooth, search engines, GPS, and lots more. It's beneficial to encourage learning this history for everyone, not just women. We will be taking a brief poll after, so it would be good to really get an idea of who these women are and how they contributed to the computer science field, or STEM in general. So the first woman here is Ada Lovelace. She was the pioneer. She became the first computer programmer by creating plans for a machine that could perform computations. So there's also an Ada Lovelace Day, which is the second Tuesday of October. And at the age of 17, she became friends with Charles Babbage, who had planned a building and his plans of building a calculating machine called the difference engine, which with Lovelace's help, they created the first digital computer with a store, processor, memory, subroutine function called the analytical engine. Now, it's pretty interesting, especially from the year she came from, that she was definitely ahead of her time. The next woman here is Grace Hopper. She's also known as Amazing Grace. She's the first computer programmer, mathematician, and she was the first woman to achieve a PhD in mathematics. After studying at the world's most prestigious school, she went to teach at Harvard, where she learned to program the world's first computer, the Mark I and then the Mark II. And she was considered the first modern program, and also came up with the word that people know as debugging. And debugging is when her team removed a moth that was disrupting the computer's processor. From there, she created a computer language called COBOL based on English words rather than the binary code, and also making computers accessible to the general public. Now, she worked through the 80s trying to retire many times, but they kept wanting her back. So she was the first ever computer science man of the year, first female National Medal of Technology, and the first American and first ever woman to be made a distinguished fellow of the British Computer Society. So she's got a good history. Next woman here is Hedy Lamarr. Now she is the foundation of where Bluetooth and Wi-Fi came from. She created the beginnings of Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and she was an actress in the 30s and 40s who turned inventor. So she had a different career before she decided to switch over. And during World War II, she co-invented a radio guidance system for torpedoes that use a frequency hopper technology to defeat the threat of jamming of enemy ships. The principles of her work are incorporated in Bluetooth and GPS technology, and this work led to her induction in the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 2014. Katherine Johnson. Katherine Johnson, she is known for her NASA space flights. She's the first African-American woman to work as a NASA scientist. Her calculations of orbital mechanics as a NASA employee were critical to the success of the first subsequent U.S. crewed space flights. Now, Gladys West over here, she created the beginnings of the GPS. She was instrumental in the development of what we know as the GPS, a satellite-based navigation system which offers incredible accurate location data. Elizabeth Feinler, she was the inventor of the domains, the .coms, the .nets, .orgs. She worked as a director of the Network Information Systems Center at Stanford Research Institute. She is responsible for our current domains, and because of her the group managed the hosting naming registry for the internet. Karen Spark Jones, she's a search engine and she was the one that invented the beginnings of search queries for search engines. So she's a professor of computing and information at University of Cambridge, and she's a pioneer of information science. She introduced IDF, which is inverse document frequency, a statistical measure used to evaluate how important words are in a document, now used daily when sites are ranked in search in relations to a search query. So Google thanks her. All right, so next we have 4 more women to go through here that are very important for pioneering our fields. Mary Wilkes, she's a computer programmer and logic designer, known for her work with the Link computer and considered the first ever personal computer. As part of development team, she wrote the system and software operating system called LAP6. So she is the inventor of the first personal computer. Next, Adele Goldberg. We categorize her under Mac programming language. She was a computer scientist and one of the creators of Smalltalk 80, a computer programming language. She worked for Xerox, Palo Alto Research Center, and she was the co-founder of Park Place Systems until they merged with Digital Talk in 1995. Adele later provided Steve Jobs with a demonstration of Smalltalk 80, where he then implemented it into the programming of the Mac. Next says Radia Perlman, a mother of the internet. She was an American engineer and mathematician. She invented the spanning tree algorithm and spanning tree protocol as STP, which enables network bridges to locate loops in local areas, LAN networks, and which solve a challenging information routing problem. So she helps direct the internet. Wendy Hall, hyperlinks. So computer scientists who invented hyperlinks predating the web, focusing on how text and content could link together. And last but not least, we have Timit Gebru. She created the first inclusive AI, working as a computer scientist who founded Black in AI, a community of Black researchers working in artificial intelligence. Now let's stop here for a minute, and we're going to do another poll. So you should see this come up on your phone. And what we want to do here is we want to ask you, after taking a look at each one of these women here, we would like to see who inspires you the most after hearing a little bit about each of their stories and what they have provided to us. Okay. Give you a few more minutes, or just a minute. Is anyone having any issues with Slido and working the polls here? I just want to make sure. What's that?
It worked good for me.
Okay, great. Okay. I think we're ready to move on. So it looks like the people that most inspired everyone here is Katherine Johnson for NASA space flights and Radia Perlman, mother of the internet. Right, so that's great. 2 wonderful ladies. Okay, so we'll move on to, this is what big issue here. So we're going to talk about how do we solve the issues. So after looking at the history of the women here and talking about some of the statistics, now we're going to talk about how you can be successful in this field and how you can stay in the field. So here we're going to list out the areas that we can solve some of the issues we face as we build our careers in STEM. So first is inventing yourself, reinventing yourself, continuing education, networking, taking risks, building confidence, groups, communities, role models, sponsorship. In the next few slides, I'll be talking to you about my journey into STEM fields and how I became one of the women that continued my career after the 5-year mark. I started in web development in the year 2000, so I've been in this field now for 22 years, so 22 years in STEM. And what I'll be doing in this tour, this journey, is you'll be seeing some of these keywords coming up as I walk through everything with you. So you'll see something that'll say invent yourself, and I'll have a story for that. Networking, I'll have a story for that. Reinventing yourself. So just you'll see how these bulleted list items are a part of my journey and how it could be a part of your journey too. So let's go into my story. So starting out in the beginning, education. Of course, I'm inventing myself for the first time. So I was 6 years old and I had this dream of being an artist. And I took that in all the way through school into high school, where I took an advanced placement art class. I got the college credits I wanted to go to art school. And I went to art school to be a graphic designer. And that's where I discovered web design. So my career kind of, or my interests changed over the years, where I went from being a fine artist, which is more illustration and drawings and paintings, to a digital artist. But web design was still fairly new at the time, and there wasn't a lot of classes available. So when the first class opened up at my school, I took it for web development or web design. Inventing yourself more. So, and this is also about spatial skills, which is also part of the beginning of this presentation. So building and inventing yourself. So I built spatial skills when I was in college. I had a part-time job as a kitchen bath designer. So I learned how to design kitchens, and also they gave me the opportunity to build cabinets. So this is kind of the foundation of my career as a programmer. So reinventing myself now and continuing education. So I started out as a visual designer, mainly doing graphic design. And then I was working for but they called it an intranet group, and we were a web design house. And with web design comes coding. And so they needed more coders. So I taught myself how to code. There wasn't a lot of classes available then. So I taught myself how to build front-end code like HTML and CSS. Then went back to school again for a master's in computer science when I realized I really did enjoy coding and I wanted to take it to the next level. So this is about networking and taking risks. So each job gave me the opportunity to network with like-minded people in my field and clients outside of my field. So projects like this gave me the confidence to take risks in areas that I may have been new to me, but in this field, we need to evolve and adjust to our roles. So I did internet portals, which is they're internal websites within organizations. I did animation. And animation was more just online animation, and back then it was flash animation. I know that's changed several times over. I've done marketing sites, which are more on the static front end sites. And then I did e-commerce sites, which is a combination of front end and back end, and payment processors. And what you'll see here is using Java, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. There's a lot more programming involved. Government sites, these are more on the higher scale. There's definitely a lot more security that you need to learn when it comes to government sites, and definitely a little bit more education. Insurance sites, these sites are more on the security side as well, and more when sensitive information, you get to learn more about that side of coding. And then email marketing, that kind of speaks for itself. I'm sure people get emails every day from somebody trying to sell you something, and that happens a lot. But this is where email marketing is also coding. It's on a different scale than actually coding websites. But since I am a front-end developer, it's really about just the user interface that I would be focusing on. So things to expect here. So in here, I'm networking, I'm taking risks, and I'm building confidence. And to note here, I was a front-end developer, and sometimes I was the only female in my team. But, it's things to expect. Your job is not always easy, and you may be the only woman. But see this as an opportunity to build confidence. You can network with others and take risks. And sometimes taking a risk is just being a part of a group where you begin to build new relationships. So this has its challenges, but it also has amazing rewards. Next is groups, communities, mentorship, role models, and sponsorship. These are kind of all together, but I'm going to break this out to give you a better understanding. And this is one of the key areas that's helped me and many other women stay in the field as long as they have. Having a support system is extremely important. So, well, first we'll talk about groups, communities, and mentorship. So I've joined many groups to get support in my role as a UX consultant and business analyst. And sometimes you need a mentor to help guide you, such as I'm part of Million Women Mentors group, or get involved in a technology group. So like I'm part of the Microsoft Power Platform Power Apps community. So that's one of my specialties. So I joined a community for it. And there's pretty much communities for anything you can think of. So these groups have helped me understand and support my job from a personal and a professional level. And don't forget social media. There's groups and networks and communities in there as well. And there's lots of groups for support and guidance if you know where to look, of course. For role models and sponsors, also considered mentors too, look for role models to build your foundation. Your role models can be a coworker that may just be a level or two above you. You don't have to go to the CEO of your company, but just someone that has some experience to help guide you. Role models can be supervisors and teachers and friends and family. So we really don't, there's so many different ways of connecting with people, but the way to really move forward in a career like this, especially when you feel like you're the only woman in the room, is to have these groups and connections. This helps keep you going, helps you motivate, keeps you challenged, and also gives you like hope for your career and your future career and where you want to see yourself in the next 5 years, 10 years, and etc. So we're going to take a brief poll on the topic of where we can resolve issues in the field. So let me bring that up. Let's see. I think they're just out of order. Okay. So what are you interested in and what do you want to improve? So these are all the things I was mentioning. So inventing yourself, reinventing yourself, continuing education, taking risks, building confidence, and joining groups. Yeah, let's see where everyone falls. Getting a role model or a sponsor. Did everybody vote? We'll give it another minute or so. I believe in this one you can vote more than once. If you can't, let me know. So far I see here that we have building confidence, reinventing yourself, continuing education, networking, taking risks, and yeah, that looks to be good. It looks like building confidence is something that is very important to everyone here. It has the highest percentage, so I definitely see that one as a big one for most women. Okay, if everyone's done voting, I'm going to move on. Okay, so let's talk about the benefits of STEM. So benefits of STEM. First, staying current in technology. So trends are constantly changing every 6 months to a year. So this gives you an opportunity to always understand the latest and greatest technologies that are available, especially if the career that you're in has a high demand for it. Also, when you're in school, learning about current technologies is always an edge when you're starting out a new job soon after. Being creative is using your imagination to create things like cool new apps. And it's also creative, you'll see further, creative writing is part of this as well. Making a difference. So your contributions can make a difference in technology used today in our society. You could be creating the latest new app that is something, well, I don't say cure cancer, but you're definitely able to create some apps that could help hospitals, if you want to, use that term. But making a difference, it can be done in so many different ways, but you definitely can do that through computer science. I feel that this is definitely the benefits of STEM, a confidence booster for sure. You're building confidence, but learning and growing in your field from your accomplishments. So every single time you accomplish something great that you feel proud of, your confidence goes up, and it continuously goes up the more you accomplish. And sometimes the accomplishments can be small. So, if you're just taking bite-sized pieces that gets to your big goal, that's a confidence booster. Now, high income jobs. So STEM fields pay more than the average job does. I'm not sure how much you know about that, but in the fact that they're in such high demand, the incomes have actually increased more. So it's a high demand job, and it's a very well paying job. There's, like I was mentioning, high demand, increased job opportunities. So as you saw earlier, there's a high demand in all STEM fields. And right now, and also within the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and I'm sure more. And also it's great for writers. Women tend to be excellent writers. There's definitely a percentage that shows like how many writers are women and how well they do. And content writing is a great way to build and understand also computer systems. You got the opportunity to document and also to train others. So a lot of good opportunities. Content writing can also be for things like, marketing websites. That's pretty exciting too. But I mean, it spans like, it's a very, very large category. But anyway, we'll move on to what top jobs in STEM are, since we're talking about jobs. So top jobs in STEM. STEM is obviously more than computer science. So through the pandemic, we have seen an increase in not only software development jobs, but due to the need of virtual capabilities, but also the tragedies that many people need now and emotional support, and that's where psychologists can help. So these are the two top jobs right now, and it makes a lot of sense. We need more technology than ever, especially with this virtual world we live in, which we're in right now. And I mean, psychologists, it's amazing how this field has just flourished from what we've experienced from the pandemic, and not just the pandemic. There's everyone wants to have healthy mental and emotional health, and these are the experts that can help. And they also do a lot of they conduct a lot of research to help people as well. And this is a field that is growing and growing and growing, and there really never will be a time where this field would ever die out, because the computer can only do so much. But with this field, it's also about talk therapy and one-on-one and more of a personal contact. But here, these are the two jobs that are really thriving right now. So back to software development, because that's what our main focus here is on, computer science. Just wanted to give you a little like statistics on what are the most in-demand programming languages of 2022. And this is based off of LinkedIn job postings. So this is a good, valid resource to understand exactly what is currently trending. So the languages that are most important now, and this is US job postings, and it's also the European job postings, but we'll be focusing on US job postings here, which is actually much higher than the European. So we have Python, which is great for backend development, data science, and app development. And there's a couple languages here that are all good for app development that you'll see. But these are the languages that are preferred for this type of development work. Java is great for e-commerce and finance, and of course, app development. JavaScript is great for web development, game development, mobile apps, and building web servers. And those are, areas of focus that are most important today. And also C#, which is a .NET language for game development, desktop web, mobile apps, and virtual reality, VR. So these languages are all part of the chart that I have here, but as a UX consultant, I'm also considered a designer. And if you're doing front-end development, the languages that are really important for you in the design world is CSS and HTML. CSS cascading style sheets, they're for web documents, website development, and website design. CSS, since I'm more familiar with that, is it's about controlling the fonts, sizes, and colors, components, images, and also layout. It's used in conjunction with HTML, and HTML is web documents, website development, and website maintenance, but it's the programming language that is the layout of the web page. So it's the front end layout that will bring in the cascading style sheets, will bring in images and components, and and it will also be the front facing of the back-end development of Python, Java, JavaScript, or C#, and many others that you see in the list. The last thing here is SQL. Now, SQL is more for database development, but it's also really important because in most web development, a lot of sites run off of SQL. So it's database management. Some examples are sales reports and business management when it comes to SQL. So let's see. Next, we're going to go and kind of recap on things. So I want you to remember a few things here, because I've been in this field a long time. You are not always going to love your job every day, but that's okay, as long as you know where you want to go and what your goals, the goals that you want to achieve. And the best way to succeed in especially a male-dominated field is to build relationships, get a mentor, join a group. It's work with other women and try to build your brand, try to make a difference, reinvent yourself, get more education if you need to, get recognition, and really take every accomplishment as a way to continue to move up. This is how you move up from 5 years to 10 years to 20 years in a job that you love. So you deserve to have a chance to make a difference in the world and make a difference in yourself. So that's the end of my presentation. And what I'd like to do next is go into a program that we're offering. We're offering a scholarship program. It's the Tallan Scholarship Program. And here, Talon has been inspired to offer a scholarship program to young women interested in STEM. And so there'll be an online application that you can fill out to have a chance to win. I think, Sam, I believe we could probably share this after this meeting or maybe in Teams.
Yeah, so I can pop the link right into the chat as well. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. I definitely would like, if more people are interested right on this call, to click the link for and try for the application here. You can fill that out. Applications are due by June 3rd. And this is what you win. So the scholarship award, the winner will receive a developer grade enterprise class laptop, 3 books, and also a Talon branded backpack. So this is just about Talon and who we are. So Talon provides technology and business process consulting services. Like I mentioned, it's software development, and it's for enterprise to mid-sized companies it's through the United States only, with a focus on portal collaboration, business intelligence, application integration, mobile platforms, user experience design, that's where I am, e-commerce, web development, and cloud services. And these are the offices. We're in Hartford, New York, Boston, Atlanta, Orange County, California, and Tampa and Dallas. But we are also virtual. So if this is something that you're interested in doing, many jobs are work from home, if that's a path that you choose to go in. I just have some resources here, and I'd like to open this up to questions. And before anything else, I also would like to put out the survey poll. So you can fill this out, but also while you're filling it out, I'm just going to keep this open for questions now. If you'd like to know more about what I do, or if you'd like to know more about what's trending now, I'd be happy to answer questions before we wrap things up with the survey.
I don't see any questions in the chat, Christina. We can always send a follow-up email with our contact information as well.
Okay.
People can reach out to any of us if they so choose.
Okay. All right then. So I'm going to wrap things up, and I appreciate everyone's time today, especially at night on a Thursday. This was definitely a great presentation to have a better understanding of the field, and I wish everyone well in their future endeavors in the STEM field. And yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Christina.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.